The strange metal object fell from the sky like a shooting star, leaving a trail of smoke and fire. Maya watched from the edge of the crystal forest, her 6 fingers gripping the rough bark of a glowing tree. The object crashed into the valley below, sending dirt and rocks flying in all directions. She should have run to warn her village, but curiosity held her in place. Maya belonged to the Azuri people who had lived peacefully on this world for thousands of years. They were tall, slender beings, with blue skin that shimmered in the light. Their civilization had advanced slowly, focusing on harmony with nature, rather than conquering it. They knew of other worlds and other beings, but visitors were rare, especially ones that arrived so violently. She made her way down the slope, carefully placing her feet on familiar paths. The smoking object was bigger than she first thought, a vessel of some kind with strange markings along its side. Nothing like the organic ships her people used for their rare journeys to nearby moons. A section of the vessel suddenly slid open with a mechanical hiss. Maya ducked behind a boulder, her heart's beating rapidly. A figure stumbled out, coughing and waving away smoke. It stood on 2 legs, wore some kind of protective covering, and had the strangest coloring Maya had ever seen. Its skin was a pale pinkish tone, and it had hair only on the top of its head. The being fell to its knees, seeming injured or weak. Maya had been trained as a healer, and despite her fear, she could not ignore a creature in pain. She stepped from behind the boulder and approached slowly. The being looked up, startled. Its eyes widened, showing white surrounds around colored centers. A primitive reaction that told Maya this creature relied on visual signals much more than her people, who communicated primarily through skin color changes and scent. I mean no harm. Maya projected changing her skin tone to peaceful blue patterns. She knew the stranger would not understand her natural communication, but hoped the calm movements might help. The being spoke sounds that made no sense to her ears. Then, seeing her confusion, it pointed to itself and said a single word. Kara, name. Maya realized the stranger was introducing itself. She touched her chest and said Maya slowly and clearly. Kara smiled, a gesture Maya recognized from studies of other bipedal species. It was remarkably similar to an Azuri expression of friendliness. Perhaps biology had some universal constants after all. With careful movements, Maya examined the stranger, noting a wound on its arm. Blood flowed red, not purple like her own. Fascinating. Despite her limited knowledge of alien physiology, Maya applied healing paste from her pouch to the wound. Kara flinched, then relaxed as the medicine began to work. The sound of warning drums echoed across the valley. The Guardians had noticed the crash and would be coming to investigate. Maya had to make a quick decision. She gestured for Kara to follow her, away from the crash site toward a network of caves she had explored as a child. If the Guardians found this stranger, they would take it away for study and interrogation, perhaps justified given security concerns. But Maya sensed no threat from this, being only confusion and fear. Kara followed, limping slightly but moving with determination. The stranger seemed to understand the urgency, even without words. The caves were not far, but the journey required crossing an open meadow. Maya waited for the right moment when the patrol would be checking the crash site, then motioned for Kara to run. They reached the caves just as voices could be heard approaching. Maya led her strange companion deeper into the network to a small chamber with fresh water and glowing fungi for light. It had been her secret place for years, a sanctuary when village life became too overwhelming. Now it would serve as a temporary haven for this visitor from the stars' days past, as Maya brought food and supplies to the cave. She learned that Kara was female and came from a planet called Earth, a place Maya had never heard mentioned in any stellar records. Kara was quick to learn simple Azuri words, while Maya struggled with the harsh sounds of Kara's language, called English. But they developed a rudimentary way to communicate using drawings, gestures, and the growing vocabulary they shared. Kara showed Maya images on a small device she carried. Pictures of her world filled with structures and machines that seemed cold and lifeless to Maya. She saw images of Kara's people, humans they were called. So many variations in color and size, yet all following the same basic pattern. Maya was fascinated especially by their creative objects, art, music, and stories. Humans seemed driven to make things constantly. Unlike the Azuri, who sought primarily to understand what already existed through their limited communication, Maya learned that Kara was an explorer, a scout for her people who searched for habitable worlds. Kara's ship had malfunctioned, bringing her to this planet by accident. Her people would be looking for her, but the ship no longer worked. Maya faced a dilemma. The Guardians had declared the crash site forbidden, placing sensors and guards to detect any return visitors. Maya had broken serious traditions by hiding Kara, instead of reporting her presence. If discovered, both would face consequences, but she could not bring herself to betray this strange being who had shown only gratitude and friendship. On the 10th day, everything changed. Maya arrived at the cave to find Kara feverish and struggling to breathe. The healing paste had helped the external wound, but something inside was wrong. Perhaps an infection or reaction to the local environment. Maya knew she had to get help, even if it meant revealing her secret. She ran to find Ilan, the eldest healer in her village, and the one person who might understand her actions. Ilan had always been progressive, often challenging traditions that seemed unnecessary. She found him collecting specimens near the village edge. "Maya, please slow down," Ilan said, noticing her agitated skin patterns and rapid breathing. "What troubles you?" She told him everything, watching his expressions shift from shock to concern to curiosity. He agreed to help, but warned of the risks. The High Council would eventually learn of the stranger, and not all would be as understanding as him. They returned to the cave together, Ilan carrying his full healer kit. When they entered, Kara was unconscious, her skin alarmingly hot to the touch. Ilan worked quickly, identifying the problem as a reaction to a local microorganism, harmless to Azuri but attacking Kara's unfamiliar biology. He prepared a remedy, teaching Maya as he worked. "This being is remarkable," he said, examining Kara's vital signs. "So similar to us in some ways, yet profoundly different in others. Her internal structure is fascinating. Will she recover?" Maya asked. "Yes, I believe so. But we cannot keep her hidden forever. The council must be told. Properly presented, this could be a momentous opportunity for our people. First contact with a new spacefaring species." Maya knew he was right, yet she worried the council contained many conservative members who feared outside influence. They had limited contact with the 3 other species they had encountered over the centuries, maintaining strict protocols and minimal cultural exchange. That night, as Kara rested more comfortably thanks to Ilan's treatment, Maya watched the stars through a gap in the cave ceiling. Somewhere out there was Kara's homeworld Earth, a place of strange machines, unusual customs, and people who traveled the stars seeking new worlds. Maya wondered what it would be like to visit such a place, to see the wonders Kara had shown in her images. A soft voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Kara, awake and looking much better. "Thank you," she said in halting Azuri. Maya smiled, changing her skin to patterns of joy and relief. She had taken a risk helping this stranger, but somehow she knew it had been the right choice. Something important had begun with Kara's arrival, something that would change both their worlds forever. The next day would bring challenges, explanations to the WoW, council decisions about Kara's fate. But for this moment in this cave, 2 beings from distant worlds had formed a connection that transcended their differences. Maya sat beside her alien friend, and together they watched the 3 moons of Azura rise in the night sky, each thinking of the possibilities that tomorrow might bring. The council chamber fell silent as Maya finished speaking. Her skin had remained calm throughout her explanation, a difficult feat given the 7 stern elders watching her with expressions ranging from curiosity to outright hostility. Ilan stood beside her, lending his authority as senior healer to her cause. The human Kara waited outside, unaware her fate was being decided by beings whose customs and laws she barely understood. 3 days had passed since Ilan had treated her illness. During that time, Maya had taught her enough Azuri to manage basic conversation. While Ilan had convinced the council to grant this hearing, Elder Nor, the eldest and most respected of the council, spoke first. "You have broken our most sacred protocol, Maya, daughter of Lyra. You concealed the presence of an alien being and made unauthorized contact, risking contamination of our ways. What defense can you offer? Maya chose her words carefully. I acted first as a healer, seeing a being in pain. Then, as the days passed, I saw not an alien threat but a person lost and alone, someone whose knowledge and perspective might benefit our people, if we are brave enough to listen, brave or foolish. Elder Tala countered, her skin flashing warning patterns. We limit contact with other species for good reasons. Our ancestors learned harsh lessons from the Myrex incursion. Remember your history, child. How could Maya forget? The history crystals contained vivid accounts of the Myrex, a warlike species who had come to Azura 5 centuries ago, offering technology but demanding resources in return. When refused, they had attacked, destroying 3 villages before being repelled. That incident had shaped Azuri policy ever since. But this human is alone, Maya argued. She came by accident, not invasion. Her people do not even know where she is. How can one stranded explorer threaten our entire civilization? The debate continued for hours. Each elder raised concerns, asked questions, and considered implications. Some saw opportunity in learning about this new species. Others feared cultural contamination, or worse, that Kara's people might come looking for her with less peaceful intentions. Finally, Elder Noor raised her hand for silence. We will meet this human. The council will judge for itself what manner of being she is. Bring her in. Maya went to fetch Kara, finding her nervously pacing outside the chamber. Remember what we practiced, Maya said, adjusting Kara's borrowed Azuri robe. Speak, simply show respect, and above all remain calm. Kara nodded, though her expression showed her anxiety. As a human, her face revealed emotions in ways Azuri skin could not hide, an openness that Maya found both fascinating and concerning in these delicate negotiations. The council chamber was designed to impress with its high crystal ceiling and ancient living chairs that adjusted to each elder's preferred position. Kara hesitated at the threshold, taking in the strange beauty of the space before Maya gently guided. Her forward Kara bowed as Maya had taught her, then spoke in careful Azuri. I thank Council for seeing me. I am sorry for coming to your world without permission. My ship broke. I did not choose to crash here. Elder Noor studied the human with ancient eyes. What are your intentions now that you are here? Kara glanced at Maya before answering. I wish to repair my ship and return home. I do not want to cause trouble for Maya or your people. She has been kind to me, and if your ship cannot be repaired, Elder Shen asked the youngest of the council and often the most progressive, will your people come looking for you? Kara nodded. Eventually, yes. When I do not report back, they will search, but they will come in peace. Humans are explorers, not conquerors, Elder. Tala made a skeptical sound. All species say such things when they stand alone and vulnerable. The questioning continued, each elder probing different aspects of human society, technology, intentions, and capabilities. Kara answered honestly, even when the answers seemed to increase council concerns. Yes, humans had weapons. Yes, they had fought wars among themselves. Yes, they continued to expand their reach among the stars. But she also spoke of human art, music, literature, and philosophy. Their drive to learn and understand the universe. Their gradual movement away from violence toward cooperation. Their hopes of finding other intelligent life. When asked why humans explored the stars, Kara gave an answer that resonated unexpectedly. I cannot speak for all humans, but I explore because the universe is vast and beautiful. I want to see it, understand it. Find others who see it differently. Our differences make us stronger, not weaker. Is that not why your people study the plants and animals of your world, to learn from different ways of living? Elder Noor exchanged glances with the others. This human speaks with wisdom unusual for such a young species. The council deliberated, privately sending Maya and Kara outside to wait. The two sat in silence, both aware of how much depended on the elder's decision. When they were called back, Elder Noor delivered their verdict. We will allow this human to remain among us while attempting to repair her vessel. She will be restricted to the southern village and must be accompanied by a guardian at all times. She may not share human technology beyond what is needed for repairs. If her people come seeking her, we will decide then how to proceed. Maya felt relief wash through her, though the conditions were strict. They were better than she had feared. Kara bowed again. Thank you for your kindness. I will respect your rules, and you, Maya, daughter of Lyra. Elder Noor continued. You will serve as this human's primary guardian responsible for her compliance. With our conditions, this is both privilege and burden. Do you accept? Maya straightened her posture. I accept. The following weeks brought new challenges and discoveries. Maya took her role as guardian seriously, teaching Kara Azuri customs, history, and language while learning about Earth in return. They visited the crash site with council permission, examining the damaged scout ship. Kara's face fell when she saw the extent of the destruction. It cannot be fixed, she said simply, at least not with tools available here. The quantum drive is completely destroyed and the communication array is beyond repair. What will you do? Maya asked. Kara looked up at the sky. Wait, I suppose. My ship sent a distress signal before crashing. If it reached a relay station, my people will come eventually. It might take months, perhaps a year. Maya felt conflicted. She had grown to enjoy Kara's company, her strange perspectives and questions. The human saw Azura through fresh eyes, noticing beauty and patterns Maya had always taken for granted. Yet she also recognized Kara's longing for home. Despite being treated with increasing acceptance by the villagers, Kara remained an outsider, studying their ways but never truly belonging. As promised, Maya showed Kara the wonders of Azura, the floating gardens of Irisa, the singing crystals of the northern mountains, the bioluminescent ocean that glowed during the twin moon alignment. Kara recorded everything in her small device, taking samples when permitted and writing detailed observations in return. Kara taught Maya about Earth, its diverse ecosystems, varied cultures, and complex history. She explained human technology in ways Maya could understand, focusing on principles rather than specifics, as the council had required. Most fascinating to Maya were the stories, human myths, legends, and personal tales that revealed how these beings made sense of their world. One evening, as they watched the sunset from the crystal forest, Kara asked a question that caught Maya off guard. Do you ever wonder what lies beyond the stars your people have visited? Maya considered. What do you mean? Kara gestured at the darkening sky. There are billions of galaxies, each with billions of stars, most with planets, many surely with life, perhaps even intelligent life, living stories we cannot imagine. The universe is so vast and we're all such a small part of it, yet each of us experiences it completely differently. This was typical of human thinking, Maya had noticed. They constantly reached outward, seeking more knowledge, more experience, more connection. The Azuri, by contrast, looked inward, seeking deeper understanding of what they already knew, finding complexity in simplicity. Perhaps this was why humans had spread farther among the stars. Despite being a younger species, we believe understanding comes from depth, not breadth. Maya explained. Our scholars might spend a lifetime studying a single species or natural phenomenon. You humans seem to prefer breadth, touching many things briefly, then moving on. Kara smiled. Not all humans. Some dedicate their lives to single subjects too. We call them experts or specialists. But yes, many of us are restless, always seeking the next horizon. I suppose that's why I'm here. Their philosophical discussion was interrupted by a village alarm, a series of melodic tones that signaled an approaching vessel. Maya felt her heart's race. This was not the scheduled arrival of any Azuri ship. Kara looked up, her expression a mix of hope and anxiety. It could be my people. They hurried back to the village where the council had already gathered in the central plaza. A scout reported seeing a ship unlike any in Azuri records currently orbiting their world. It had made no aggressive moves but had not responded to communication attempts either. Elder Noor turned to Kara. Is this vessel familiar to you? Kara studied the holographic image the scout had captured. Her face brightened. It's an Earth ship. A Pathfinder-class exploration. Gosh, they found me. The moment Maya had both anticipated and dreaded had arrived. Soon Kara would return to her people, leaving Azura and their friendship behind. The realization brought an unexpected sadness. The human shuttle descended through Azura's atmosphere, leaving a trail of light against the evening sky. Maya stood with the welcoming party, her skin shifting between patterns of excitement and concern. Kara fidgeted beside her, equally nervous though, for different reasons. After much debate, the council had agreed to allow the shuttle to land at a designated site away from any settlements they would meet. These humans accept their thanks for caring for Kara and politely send them on their way, with minimal cultural exchange. A cautious approach, but more welcoming than many had expected. That had been the plan until Elder Noor had a startling revelation during final deliberations. The history crystals spoke of another crashed vessel centuries ago before modern records, one that matched descriptions of human technology. The occupants had not survived, but their artifacts had been preserved in the sealed archives. This was not first contact, but a rediscovery. This information had shifted the Council's perspective. If humans had found Azura before, perhaps this meeting was inevitable. The question became not whether to engage, but how to shape that engagement on Azuri terms. The shuttle touched down with remarkable precision, its engines quieting to a soft hum. 3 humans emerged, 2 female and 1 male, all wearing simple garments similar to Kara's original clothing, but in different colors. They looked around with expressions of wonder before spotting Kara and breaking into wide smiles. Kara stepped forward, greeting her people with obvious joy. They spoke rapidly in their language, hugging in a physical display of affection that made some of the Azuri shift uncomfortably. Such direct contact was reserved for family bonds. In their culture, Maya watched closely, noting the differences between these humans. Each had unique coloring and features, yet followed the same basic pattern. The tallest female appeared to be the leader, her bearing reminiscent of Elder Noor, despite her younger appearance. Kara turned, bringing this leader toward the Azuri delegation. Captain Lisa Beck of Earth Exploration Vessel Horizon, she said in Azuri, then switched to English to introduce Elder Noor. The human captain bowed respectfully, speaking through what appeared to be a translation device. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, I thank you for rescuing and caring for our lost explorer. Your kindness will not be forgotten. Elder Noor responded with equal formality. The people of Azura, welcome, peaceful visitors. Though unexpected, Kara's arrival has been educational for both our peoples. The initial exchange of pleasantries complete, the group moved to a prepared meeting area, a simple arrangement of stone seats beneath a canopy of luminescent trees. The humans looked up in fascination at the glowing foliage. Captain Beck spoke again. We are particularly grateful to find Kara not only alive, but well treated. Many species might have responded differently to an uninvited visitor. Elder Noor acknowledged this with a skin pattern indicating measured agreement. Our history with other spacefaring races has taught us caution, but also the value of understanding before judging. The conversation progressed carefully, with both sides sharing limited information about their worlds. Kara served as cultural interpreter, explaining nuances that the translation devices missed. Maya noticed how the humans constantly asked questions, showing particular interest in Azuri biotechnology and environmental adaptation. Elder Tala, clearly uncomfortable with the humans. Curiosity finally raised the question that had been troubling the council. How did you find our world? It appears in no shared star charts, and we have maintained our privacy for generations, Captain. Beck hesitated, exchanging glances with her companions before answering. Honestly, Kara's vessel sent an automated distress signal. We followed it here. But you are correct that Azura is not on any current charts. However, she paused. We discovered records in our ancient databases indicating this star system had been visited before approximately 300 of your cycles ago. The same time frame as the artifacts in the archive, Maya realized. The pieces connecting one of our early exploration ships was lost in this region. Beck continued. We never knew what happened to it. It crashed here. Elder Noor stated. The occupants did not survive. Our ancestors preserved their remains and possessions with respect, but chose not to seek further contact. Somber mood fell over the gathering. Captain Beck nodded in understanding. Our ancestors were sometimes less careful in their explorations than we try to be. Now we have learned much since those early days about respecting other civilizations and their wishes. The conversation shifted to the immediate matter of Kara's return. The humans were prepared to leave immediately, taking the wreckage of her ship with them to honor the Council's wishes for minimal technological impact. But Elder Nor surprised. Everyone, I propose an alternative. For too long we have isolated ourselves from the broader community of thinking beings. Perhaps to our detriment, knowledge shared can benefit both our peoples. I suggest a limited cultural exchange. A few of your scholars may remain to learn our ways if an equal number of our people may visit your vessel. To learn of Earth, Captain Beck appeared pleasantly surprised by this offer. We would be honored. Such an exchange would need careful planning and guidelines. Thus, began a careful negotiation that lasted well into the night. Maya found herself designated as one of the Azuri representatives who would visit the human ship. Her experience with Kara and her background in comparative biology making her an ideal candidate. The exchange would last one full lunar cycle with regular reports to the Council. The following morning, Maya prepared for departure. Her family gathered to say farewell, her mother pressing a family crystal into her hand to remind her of home. No Azuri had left their world in over a generation, making her journey historic. Kara found her as she finished packing. Are you nervous? Maya let her skin show the truth patterns of excitement mixed with anxiety. The human ship seems very different. From our living vessels, much more mechanical. Kara smiled. The Horizon is our newest Explorer-class ship. You might find it more comfortable than you expect. Humans have begun incorporating more biological elements into our designs, partly inspired by species like yours. They walked together to the shuttle where 3 Azuri scholars, including Maya, would join the humans for the journey to orbit. The other chosen representatives were Elon the Healer and Vera, an elder historian, specializing in interspecies relations. Each carried specific questions and research goals approved by the Council. The shuttle ride was Maya's first experience with human technology from the inside. The vessel hummed with energy. The walls lined with displays showing their ascent path. Captain Beck explained the systems, patiently answering the Azuri's questions and showing evident pride in her people's engineering. As they broke through the atmosphere into space, Maya gasped. The view of Azura from above was breathtaking. Swirling clouds, ocean expanses, and the distinctive crystal forests visible as glittering patches across the continents. She had seen images from Azuri satellites before, but experiencing the sight directly touched her deeply. The Horizon came into view, a graceful vessel larger than Maya had imagined. Unlike the sharp angular military ships of the Myrex, this craft had sweeping lines and a design that somehow managed to balance function with beauty. Docking procedures complete, the Azuri visitors were welcomed aboard by the human crew. Many stared openly at the blue-skinned visitors before remembering their manners and returning to their duties. Maya noticed how the humans moved with practiced efficiency through their environment. The tour revealed a vessel of surprising complexity. Dedicated areas for research, living quarters, recreation, and operations. Captain Beck explained each section, introducing key personnel and explaining the ship's mission of peaceful exploration. What impressed Maya most was the ship's biology lab, a spacious chamber filled with specimens and advanced analysis equipment. A tall human male with dark skin greeted them warmly. Dr. Sam Walsh, chief xenobiologist. The meeting between Elon and Dr. Walsh was particularly significant. 2 healers from vastly different traditions, finding immediate common ground in their shared curiosity about comparative biology. Within minutes, they were deep in technical discussion, comparing notes on cellular structures and evolutionary patterns. Captain Beck smiled at their enthusiasm. This is why we explore, to find new perspectives, new ways of understanding life. Maya found herself assigned comfortable quarters near Kara, who would serve as her guide during the exchange. The room was designed with human needs in mind. But the crew had made thoughtful modifications, adding moisture generators and light settings, more comfortable for Azuri physiology. That first night in space, Maya stood at the viewport in her quarters watching Azura slowly rotate below. The enormity of what was happening struck her fully. She was the first of her people in generations to leave their world to experience the perspective that had shaped human thinking, looking back at one's home from the outside, seeing it as just one world among countless others. The following days brought a whirlwind of new experiences. Maya divided her time between formal research and cultural exchange, learning about human history, science, art, and philosophy. She observed their social interactions, noting the importance of facial expressions, vocal tones, and physical gestures in their communication, so different from the subtle skin patterns and pheromones the Azuri relied upon. The Myrex commander bared his jagged teeth in what Maya recognized as a threat display. The bipedal reptilian species had changed little in the centuries since their first contact with Azura. Their culture still prized dominance and territorial control above all else. Our treaty gives us exclusive trading rights with Azura, the commander hissed. These humans must leave immediately. Maya watched Captain Beck maintain remarkable composure. We are here at the invitation of the Azuri government. We have no hostile intentions toward any party. The standoff continued with the Myrex ship maintaining position between the horizon and Azura. The situation grew increasingly tense as more Myrex vessels arrived, bringing their number to 3 against the single human ship. In the command center, Maya observed the human crew preparing defensive systems while continuing diplomatic efforts. They moved with practiced efficiency, but she could sense their concern. This confrontation had not been part of their mission parameters, Kara explained quietly to Maya. The Myrex have a reputation in this sector. They claim protection over several worlds, but essentially demand resources in exchange. They see us as competition. The communication screen activated, again showing Elder Nor and the full council Captain Beck. We request that you avoid confrontation if possible. The Myrex have superior numbers and our people lack significant defensive capabilities. Should conflict reach our surface. Beck nodded, understanding. We have no intention of initiating hostilities. However, we cannot simply abandon your people or our own crew members on the surface. The Myrex commander interrupted. We demand the humans depart within 1 planetary rotation. Any remaining on the surface will be considered spies. Their vessel will be escorted to the system. Boundary Maya felt a chill. These were not the terms of negotiation, but of ultimatum. She recalled the history lessons of how the Myrex had attacked Azuri villages centuries ago when refused access to crystal forests. Their respect for sovereignty had not improved. Elder Nor spoke with dignity that impressed Maya. We did not invite Myrex protection, nor do we recognize your authority to dictate who may visit our world. The humans have shown respect for our customs while you threaten force. The Council has decided the human vessel may remain in orbit, and their diplomatic mission will continue. The Myrex commander's scales darkened with rage. You forget your place, Azuri. Our agreement was made with a council long dead. Elder Nor countered, and never included surrendering our independence. Times change. Commander, perhaps the Myrex should consider more equitable relationships with neighboring worlds. The commander cut the transmission. The Myrex vessels moved into attack formation, their weapon systems powering up. In the command center, alarms sounded as the horizon detected the energy signatures. Captain Beck turned to her crew. Defensive posture. Only shield at maximum, inform Earth of the situation. Request diplomatic intervention, but make clear, we will defend ourselves if fired upon. Maya watched in fascination and horror as the humans prepared for possible conflict, their movements precise, their faces set with determination. She had never witnessed such preparations, her peaceful people having avoided direct confrontation for generations. A junior officer approached Captain Beck. Sensors detect 2 more vessels approaching from Sector 7. Beck frowned. More Myrex, no mom. Different configuration, moving fast. They appear to be Solarian. Relief visibly washed over the captain. The Solarians were allies of Earth. their vessels known for advanced technology and speed. Somehow word of the confrontation had reached them, bringing timely support. The Myrex commander returned to the screen, seeing the tactical situation shifting. 2 more human ships will not save you. Not human, Captain Beck replied. These are Solarian vessels, as you know. They maintain the trade routes in this sector. They have a vested interest in preventing unauthorized blockades. The commander's expression shifted. The Solarians were a known quantity in interstellar politics, their merchant fleet protected by formidable defensive technology. They rarely involved themselves in local disputes unless trade was threatened, but when they did, their technological advantage usually settled matters quickly. The standoff continued for tense hours as the Solarian ships arrived, taking position near the horizon, their captains communicating support while initiating their own diplomatic channel with the Myrex. Maya, Kara, and the other Azuri visitors were kept informed, but asked to remain in secured areas of the ship should conflict erupt. The humans explained they wanted their guests as far from potential damage as possible, in their shared waiting area. Maya spoke quietly with her fellow Azuri. Our people have avoided involvement in interstellar politics for centuries. Now we find ourselves at the center of a confrontation between 3 spacefaring powers. Elon nodded thoughtfully. We maintained isolation, believing it kept us safe. But perhaps it only left us without allies when truly needed. The humans risk their vessel to honor their commitment to us. The Solarians come to support established protocols of space travel. Only the Myrex seek to control through force. Maya considered this. The humans' approach to the galaxy was fundamentally different from both the Azuri and the Myrex. Where her people sought harmony through separation and the Myrex through domination, humans seemed to seek connection, building relationships across differences. This had its risks, but also created networks of mutual support. A knock at the door interrupted their discussion. Kara entered, her expression relieved. The Myrex are withdrawing. Their commander has agreed to a diplomatic summit on the Solarian trading station to discuss revised treaties for this sector. The crisis had passed, at least temporarily. Through a combination of firmness, respect, and timely alliance, the humans had managed to defuse the situation without violence. Maya was impressed not just by their technical capabilities but by their diplomatic skill. Captain Beck invited the Azuri representatives to join a briefing on next steps. The Solarians had proposed a regional council where all species with interests in the sector could establish mutually beneficial protocols. The Myrex would retain trading rights with willing partners, but their claims of protection would require the protected parties' explicit consent. This is an opportunity, Elder Noor said when consulted. For too long we've allowed the Myrex to claim to speak for our interests. Perhaps it is time we represented ourselves directly in galactic affairs. Maya's role expanded beyond cultural exchange to include preparation for this diplomatic summit. Working with human and Solarian advisors, she helped craft position statements that would protect Azuri independence while opening carefully managed channels for technological and cultural exchange. During this period, Maya spent many hours with the human diplomatic team, learning their protocols and perspectives. She was particularly struck by their historical records showing how their own species had evolved from competing nation-states to more collaborative governance. A path not without setbacks and conflicts, but revealing a capacity for growth. What surprises me, Kara said, during one of their planning sessions is how adaptable humans have proven to be. You mentioned once that we seek breadth over depth, but I think our true strength is flexibility. We change readily, absorbing new ideas and approaches. Maya had to agree. The Azuri valued tradition and continuity, changing slowly and deliberately. Humans, by contrast, seem to transform themselves and their societies within a single generation. This had drawbacks, creating instability and sometimes losing valuable knowledge, but it also allowed rapid correction of mistakes and integration of beneficial innovations. As preparations for the summit continued, Maya found herself drawn to the ship's library, a vast digital archive of human knowledge and creative works. She became particularly fascinated with human fiction, their imagined stories of possible futures, encounters with alien species, and explorations of consciousness, literature that often explored questions the Azuri considered through philosophy. but in narrative form. 3 weeks into the exchange mission, the Horizon received new visitors. A Solarian diplomatic vessel docked, bringing their representatives for preliminary discussions. The Solarians' physical form surprised Maya. They were methane breathers requiring environmental suits and oxygen atmospheres. Their bodies vaguely humanoid, but with 6 limbs and clusters of sensory organs where a human face would be. Despite these profound biological differences, the Solarians and humans interacted with practiced familiarity. Their species had maintained peaceful relations for over a century, sharing technologies and cultural works while respecting each other's biological needs and cultural differences. Maya watched the Solarian ambassador greet Captain Beck with a series of melodic tones translated immediately by their systems. The ease of their interaction demonstrated what might be possible between truly different forms of life. The Solarian turned to Maya and her fellow Azuri Itsan, honored to meet representatives of Azura. Your biological technologies are legendary, though little understood due to your privacy. We respect your traditional isolation, but welcome this opportunity for expanded dialogue. Maya responded carefully. The Azuri seek harmony and understanding. We have perhaps been overcautious in our interactions with other species. Recent events suggest isolation may no longer serve our interests or protect our people. One full cycle had passed since the diplomatic summit. Maya stood on the observation deck of the newly established Azuri embassy, a sleek structure combining human architectural principles with living Azuri materials. The building represented everything she had worked for during these months, a bridge between worlds created through mutual respect and understanding. The embassy sat on a small island, granted by the Azuri Council for diplomatic purposes, the first permanent foreign presence allowed on their world in centuries. From her vantage point, Maya could see both the crystal forests of her homeland and the small human settlement that had grown nearby. Scientists, cultural exchanges, and diplomatic personnel lived and worked together, creating something truly new. Ambassador Maya. She heard a familiar voice say. Kara approached, wearing the formal uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. Her once temporary assignment as human liaison had become permanent, a role she had embraced with characteristic enthusiasm. Maya turned, her skin shifting to welcoming patterns. The summit agreement was ratified by the final holdout today. The MyRex High Command has officially recognized all provisions. Kara smiled broadly. Excellent news. This means the Protected Worlds Clause takes full effect. The MyRex can no longer claim protection rights without explicit consent and regular renewal. The summit had transformed regional politics, establishing clear guidelines for interspecies, contact trade agreements, and territorial recognition. Most revolutionary was the creation of a sector council, where all spacefaring species had equal voice in matters affecting shared space. The days of stronger powers simply imposing their will on developing worlds were officially ending. Earth's representatives had been instrumental in crafting these agreements, drawing on centuries of human experience with international law. The Solarians had provided enforcement mechanisms, their merchant fleet converted to a peacekeeping force. The Azuri surprisingly had contributed the ethical framework, emphasizing harmony, respect, and sustainability principles that had guided their society for millennia. Maya moved to her desk, activating the communication system. Elder Noor appeared, on screen looking pleased but tired. The council vote was unanimous, she reported. Even Elder Tala supported ratification, though with her usual cautions. The Azuri people are ready for this new chapter. Maya, you have represented us well. The praise meant much coming from Elder Noor, who had taken the bold step of appointing Maya. Despite her youth and limited experience, the elder had recognized something Maya herself had not fully seen: her unique ability to bridge perspectives, finding connections between seemingly different approaches. The past months had brought profound changes to Azura. Limited cultural exchanges had expanded as humans, Solarians, and even representatives from other species visited to learn and share knowledge. The Azuri had sent their own explorers outward, reconnecting with the galactic community on their own terms. Most significant were the technological partnerships. Humans contributed their advanced physics and engineering, Solarians their unmatched computational systems. The Azuri shared carefully selected aspects of their biotechnology, particularly medicinal applications that could benefit all species. Initial fears of cultural contamination had proven largely unfounded. The Azuri way of life remained distinct, their core values intact. Yet it had also evolved, becoming more dynamic, incorporating beneficial elements from other traditions while remaining true to their foundations. Kara joined Maya at her desk. They had become an effective team, navigating the complex waters of interspecies diplomacy, each bringing complementary strengths to their shared mission. Captain Beck has been promoted, Kara mentioned Fleet Admiral. Now she sends her regards and hopes to visit next season when her new duties allow. Maya nodded appreciatively. The former captain had become something of a legend for her handling of the Myrex confrontation, demonstrating that firmness, wisdom, and restraint could accomplish more than force of arms. Her approach had influenced human diplomatic policy, strengthening the cooperative elements within their spacefaring culture. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Sam Walsh and Elon, now co-directors of the Joint Research Initiative. The two had formed an effective partnership despite their different backgrounds. Elon's traditional healing wisdom complementing Walsh's scientific methodology. Together, they had already developed several breakthrough treatments, adapting Azuri biomedicine for human physiology. Great news from the lunar facility. Elon announced his skin patterns showing excitement. The adaptive bioshields are functioning perfectly. The human colonists can now work on the surface with minimal protective equipment. This was a significant advancement. The harsh radiation on Earth's moon had long limited human settlement there. By adapting Azuri cellular protection mechanisms, the researchers had created living shields that could protect human habitats and eventually, perhaps human bodies directly. Dr. Walsh added. The Earth applications are even more promising. Early tests show the modified treatments effectively repairing radiation damage from industrial accidents. We estimate at least 15,000 patients could benefit immediately. Maya felt pride hearing these reports. This was precisely what she had hoped for when advocating for knowledge sharing. Benefits flowing in multiple directions, improving life for all participating species. Such tangible results helped quiet the remaining voices of isolation and fear on both sides. A young Azuri aide entered the room with characteristic deference. Ambassador, the new human cultural delegation has arrived. They await your welcome in the Grand Hall. Maya thanked him and prepared to fulfill her diplomatic duties. Every new exchange strengthened the bonds between their worlds. This particular group comprised artists, educators, and philosophers coming to study Azuri harmonics and share human creative traditions. Before leaving, she paused. At her personal crystal, a small fragment from her family stone that had traveled with her through these momentous changes. Touching it briefly, she reflected on the journey that had brought her here. From a curious young Azuri watching a falling star to ambassador of her entire species. What would her life have been if she had ignored that crash, reported it immediately, and continued her ordinary existence? Kara seemed to sense her thoughts. Sometimes I think about that first day in the cave, she said, when you could have turned me over to your authorities but chose compassion and curiosity instead. One person making one choice changed everything. Maya let her skin show agreement patterns. Small moments can contain great significance. My teachers always said this, but I never truly understood until living it. Together they walked toward the Grand Hall. Kara had become fluent in reading Azuri skin patterns, while Maya had mastered the subtle facial expressions and body language of humans. Their communication flowed effortlessly between modes, demonstrating in small ways what was possible between different beings with patience and effort. The Grand Hall represented the best of both worlds. Soaring crystal arches created by Azuri, craftspeople supported by human-designed environmental systems that maintained perfect conditions for both species. Great windows looked out over the ocean, while living walls displayed constantly shifting patterns of light and color. The human delegation waited inside along with several Azuri cultural representatives and 2 Solarian observers. The gathering illustrated how quickly things had evolved from first contact to working partnership. Not without challenges and misunderstandings, but with genuine progress. Maya delivered her formal welcome, speaking first in Azuri, then English, and finally attempting a few phrases in the musical Solarian trade language. Her linguistic abilities had expanded dramatically during her diplomatic service on behalf of the Azuri people, I welcome you to our world, she said. We have much to learn from each other, and much to create together. Our differences are not barriers, but opportunities. Our separate evolutionary paths have given us unique perspectives, strengths, and ways of understanding. Through sharing these gifts respectfully, we all become greater than we could be alone. After the formal ceremonies concluded, Maya found a moment alone with Kara on the terrace overlooking the sea. The 3 moons of Azura were rising, creating the rare triple alignment that happened only once per cycle. The ocean below began to glow with bioluminescent life responding to the combined gravitational pull, a spectacular natural phenomenon. Did you ever imagine this outcome when your ship crashed here? Maya asked. Kara laughed. Never in our wildest projections we hoped for peaceful contact and basic information exchange. This. She gestured at the embassy, the research centers, and the growing connections between their worlds. This exceeds everything we dreamed. Maya considered how much had changed in a relatively short time. Not just in diplomatic terms, but in how she saw the universe and her place in it. Her world had expanded literally and figuratively, opening to new possibilities without losing what made her Azuria communication alert sounded. The screens in the embassy activated automatically, showing an incoming transmission from a human deep space monitoring station. At first, Maya thought, care routine, until she saw Kara's expression change. They found something, she whispered. The transmission clarified. A human exploration vessel at the edge of known space had detected signals, definitive evidence of another intelligent species previously unknown to any of the sector council members. The patterns were unmistakably artificial mathematical sequences that could only be created by conscious intention.